Hello, everybody. We are streaming today, improv style, because I think that's the best. And I want to talk to you today about something with Bach, okay? How to play Bach. This is something that I'm going to do my best to explain as clearly as possible, and I'm not sure I've ever done that to my satisfaction, but I guess you could call this sort of trick, but it's not just a trick. It's kind of like digging for the essential in the music. So what I've noticed playing Bach is you start out and you kind of focus on, there's so much to talk about, right? The harmony, the keys that we're modulating to, and we're not going to get into all that. We're going to get into something rather simple that I think should have a profound effect on your playing. So usually we're just focused on the main beats, okay? Today I'm looking at the fugue in C sharp major, book 1 from the Well-Tempered Clavier. And the fugue, that's the prelude. Okay, so what happens usually in this is I'm going to give an example of different ways that this can be played. And that's probably a good idea if you're playing Bach, is to experiment. Don't always play it the same way. Don't always play it fast. Don't always play it slow. Find Bach can be played in so many different ways. So, okay, and I think this will help. What are we getting to here? All right. That's usually how we think to play this, okay? So we're looking at all the beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So when you do this thing I want you to do, you're basically going to do the opposite. Put a little accent. Maybe we'll say it in accent. Again, this is not necessarily how we're going to play everything. It's just to discover the substance in the music between the rhythmic meter. So you'll put a little accent on every eighth note beat is good, because that's usually what we're forgetting to do. Or maybe only on the off beats, just so you can start to pay attention. That might be a good way of doing this. So now instead of feeling this, we start feeling it like this. Okay, and this gets really, really interesting. What should happen is that you will not want to play it fast. Okay, you'll want to kind of savor the sound on those in-between beats. Okay. So you should, ideally, I don't think we're just doing this on the off beats. It doesn't really sound good, but if you just count every eighth beat, every eighth note beat, instead of every quarter note beat, then it sort of becomes like this. Yum, ti da 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 deen tum tum da da dum pum 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 ti da 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 becomes. Now, we're probably not going to play it exactly that way, but you see how we've discovered so much, and I think you will as well, material in the music that you probably didn't notice before, and things that are even on the main beats start to stick out that we didn't notice. Okay, that's an offbeat. There's a main beat. Little things like that. They're all over in his music. There's so much substance to every little eighth note. Maybe not every single one, but there's so much substance in every bar that I think is really overlooked. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And like this, we could play the whole piece slowly in a rather eccentric way, but that's pretty interesting. It's very easy to overlook these things. Maybe good to do it without pedal. See how that's different then. This is quarter notes. This is eighth notes. So the thing that sticks out, and you might find there's, places where you don't want to feel it in eighth notes. It's not appropriate, fine. And there's some places where it is. So go for it, Okay, isn't that amazing? 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Does that make some sense? See if you can play some of his music this way. I just think like I kind of see the eighth note sort of grid lines in my mind through the score when I do this. So, and if I'm just playing, it's very different thinking quarter notes than to think eighth notes. There's so much more substance. Okay, we're being a little eccentric here, and that's cool. Let's continue this. So much to listen to here. Here where they go parallel. So it gives you time, of course, because we're playing slow, but we're being so much more we're paying so much more attention to spots, rhythmic spots in the pulse that we normally don't. And we're getting so much more out of it. We're not being rhythmic or anything. It's totally possible to play this through at any tempo, including very fast ones, and play it very, very well and never have heard those things. In which case, sadly, the music always feels boring, because you always feel like, shouldn't there be more to this? Isn't it more interesting? Isn't it more beautiful? Isn't it more fun? Doing like what I said to do in the beginning, put a little accent between all the beats, on all the ands, 1 and 2 and, you know. But anyway, it's more of an antidote to the problem in the first place than an actual way of playing, but it works. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. It's almost like the difference between playing a scale like this and playing it like this. Right? Maybe you get it right away, okay? Good for you if you can. That never come out if you don't play this way. Now, eventually what we're getting to is playing it any way you want, but because you've worked on it this way, you should hear those things, I'd like to say forever, but maybe it's not forever, but just going through the piece a few times this way will change everything. Start to, this is also just a listening thing, but when you take the time to hear those things, it will totally change the way you play it, even if you play fast. Because you hear it now. Like that. It's more interesting when you have the two hands, especially parts like this. And once you've done that, Now do whatever you like, you know, play it at different tempos, okay? We talked about that in the beginning. Play your Bach pieces at different tempos. Don't always play them at the same tempo unless you really know what you're doing and you've tried them at the other tempos. But I think you get something, and you know, out of playing it slowly, obviously, and it doesn't need to be always played one way. You know, you might find your sweet spot tempo. I love to play the piece with Bach too slow and love it. And then I like to play it also too fast and also like that. Enjoy it, I mean. And then do everything in between as well, and eventually you'll find, you know, what's best for you. Maybe you have a way of playing it the same all the time. Maybe it depends on the day. Maybe it depends on the year of your life, okay? So, we've done that. Let's play it differently now. All I'm gonna do here is I will play it at a faster tempo, but I will feel it still in eighth notes, which is gonna constantly be sort of slowing me down. Instead of feeling 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna feel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So little things like that will stick out if you've worked on them and listened to them. It's just a question of hearing, letting your ear kind of absorb what this sounds. Those little dissonances. You know, there's a great video I saw on tone bass, it's on YouTube actually, of Marc-André Hamelin with his new album, Hannon, the Virtuoso Pianist. It's a joke, but it's really fantastic because he plays this thing like which is kind of funny because they're silly, maybe not so silly, but they're just exercises, you know. And anything, no matter how simple it is, can be so beautiful if you just, you know, find a way of playing a scale. Feeling that eighth note, it's like you have these passing notes and appoggiaturas in your scale, which sounds kind of ridiculous. But when you get to music like this, that is so beneficial to know how to do that. And we got a cat in the shot. Anyway, let's see if he gets completely in. Where were we in this? Oh yeah. There's a little street cleaning tractor in the window. And another thing that, you know, has probably already happened if you look at this piece, and just kind of sharing how it's been for me, and down he goes, is you think of this subject kind of fa, mi, re, do, but you forget about re, do, si, do, and when you that has its place. Continue this at our faster tempo, but feeling all these ta da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da dum. Sorry. some places where the harmony actually does change on the half note, the half note, the eighth note, I'm sorry, the half beat. And maybe you'll start to notice that. It doesn't do it everywhere. That's called the harmonic rhythm. You know, so how are the chords spaced out rhythmically? Sometimes it's pom, pom, pom. Sometimes it's pom, 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 pom. Right? So we had that on every eighth note. Now we have a different chord. So that's another thing that should pop out, you know. And then when you have those change of chords on eighth notes, that's an important place to bring that out. A good example of this is you have rhythmic harmonic rhythm is kind of going by the quarter note and sometimes by the half note. And then at the end, how does it go? I'm sorry, I'm trying to pick it out from the middle of the thing by heart. That's all one chord. And then we go from the 5 to the 1. So do you see how many the harmonic rhythm was like pa da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee dum pom 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 pom. We changed chords more often. So that's important to hear. And this is an example of the same thing here. What a nice fugue. C'est un de mes préférés. It's one of my favorites for sure. This one is so beautiful. So there you go. I'm just doing the same thing at a different tempo, but I worked on it slowly to get there. I wouldn't have been able to do that without going through every single bar of this piece slowly the way I did at the beginning, feeling the substance of the music in between the beats. That's about it for today. I just wanted to share that, and I hope it makes sense, and I hope you can do something with it. I don't hear a lot of people playing Bach this way, and I just think it's missing. There's so much missing. It sounds so superficial when you're not paying attention to that. I guess we could go through other examples here and find the same thing, you know, C sharp minor. If you're just feeling that's nice and smooth and flowy. But what about 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 1, 2 and 3 and then you don't have to play it that way. Once you know that's there, 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 1 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 2 and 3 you know, you'll find you'll decide what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, right? Okay. I'd go through every single piece I played by Bach like this. Even this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 It might give you something, you know. Actually, I remember having a few students play it even like this. And even 1 and I can't count and do that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 right? It should change the way you play it. Okay, so those are little ideas for this. Yeah, the fugue. Pa da da dee da da dee da dum. You could do that too. Ya da da dee da da dee da dum. Pum 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And then do whatever you want. It doesn't mean you can't play. It will just add a little substance in there. Yes, I like to do it the sort of French overture way, this one. 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Yeah, some of these you'll get more out of it than others, you know. 1 and 2 and 3 and ti da ta da ti da 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 dee. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of. 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 so you start out by playing this like this. Then maybe you go hardcore style. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 and then you kind of consolidate it somehow. 2 3 4 and you'll find what's appropriate. Maybe there's places where you want to feel more of a subdivision between the beats and some places less. This one, yeah, not the beginning, not so much, but once the 16ths come back here, so much to hear in this. Just listen to, yes, I move it up an octave so because I can't hear it. So, listening for that. So, and then listen listen to the way every 16th note sounds with the notes that are held, and so on and so forth. You know, the way that the 8th notes sound with the quarter notes, and so on and so forth. So you have this sound, this again, and then this. So there's something different on every 16th note beat. They're not beats, right? Okay? This might sound really eccentric, but we're just delving into the music to find out what's there, what extra substance is there in this music that we're missing. Instead of, it's hard to not hear it once you've heard it. There's a nice one. And then, yeah, this is such a short little part, it's hard to get kind of play through. You see how all that stuff becomes clear, and you hear it even when you come back to a faster tempo and stop subdividing so much. But maybe you subdivide a little bit in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Just call that listening, you know, but that's definitely not the way I think of it when I go into that mode. So if I catch myself playing Bach and feeling like there's more to it, this is a little boring, then I just kind of see that subdivision grid into 8th notes, let's say if we're in 4/4, and feel it that way. One of my favorite pieces by Bach, one of the many favorite pieces, is the Partita number 4. Okay, in D major, starting with a French overture. And then we get to this little fugue after this overture. Page turn in history. So this is similar. Now in 9/8, we have a different meter. Usually here's what's going to happen. We'll have 1, 2, and then 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Kind of forgetting about the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Especially now, okay, let's say we pay attention to it. It's always boring in the beginning. Because there's no polyphony yet. Except for the little scales, right? Oh, so beautiful. Oh, right? That's kind of the way to do it. Now we start to listen. There's two things happening at the same time. So what I like to do in the meters that have either compound time signatures like 6/8, 9/8, 12/8, or in 3/4 as well, I'll do a similar antidote, but the second pulse. It's the second pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's kind of the antidote for this one, okay? That's the key here, right? If I was more organized and I had little things on the screen, that would be the instructions here for the compound time signature. Sorry, I don't. 2, 3, I'm not sorry actually. 1, maybe a little bit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. Start out by doing that. That shouldn't be too hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now it gets interesting here, where we actually have syncopations on the second note pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not yet. Oh, right there. And then in the top voice, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's a place to hear if you feel every single one. 4, 5, 6, 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 7, 8, 9. Right? So it's kind of like playing our eccentric scale, you know. If you would just play a scale in thirds, it would be like that. Like it's the most amazing thing. It's so nice. You're savoring every single eighth note. Even the 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. And then take a new key. It's like, wow. A totally different mood and feel to it. So that's one of the nicest things, you know. That's why classical music can be so beautiful. It's just simple things like, and it's so beautiful. You know? Okay, where were we? We were in this partito. I think that's about it for this thing here today. Oh, this one's so beautiful, right? And two and three. Same thing, okay? There's another great example. Since it's not so fast, especially if you just feel quarter note pulses, which is what everyone is going to do. But feel the eighth note steadiness. There's such a fervor and devotion in Bach's music. So that eighth note fervor is almost like, it adds to the fervor. Let's put it that way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So here we have a beautiful minor seventh in the bass with those notes. So it's almost like, yeah, these are appoggiaturas. If we look at, non-chord tones, ornamental notes, if you're familiar with that, passing notes, auxiliary notes, pedal, these kind of things. The cat is meowing. It's not a very nice meow. If anyone wants him, just write me. Just kidding. Oh, we have to hold that D. That's what's fun here. This D. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which resolves here. Right? Can't play it that slow and hear that. Sorry, C sharp. Da dee da dee da da da. Yum dum da dee da This one is so beautiful. They're all really amazing. This is my favorite partita. Not just because I have big hands and I can do this. Okay, just showing off. Yeah, and there's beautiful recordings of Glenn Gould playing this as well on YouTube. The one where he's wearing a blue shirt. Convinced that he heard it that way. That's how he really heard this music. That's the only way he could go. Eccentric, but that's things we can do with Bach's music, played in all sorts of different ways. Okay, I think that's about it. Let's read the comments here. We got a few people writing a few things here. I think some of these comments disappear on my thing, so if I don't read them all and I see them after when I look at the thing. So okay, because it says top chat, not live chat. That's why. Well, now I switched it to live chat and I still don't see the other ones. DR, hi DR, hi Anna Martins, Sylvia Parapini, and everybody else watching. Beautiful lines and nice musical analysis. Thank you. I gotta get going for a moment. Good. Yeah, I think I'll upload this one after. You know, I always forget to hit the record button. I think I'll have a new policy. When I do that, everyone gets to see the stream. And when I don't, well, I'll probably record it, chop it up, and, you know, give something to patrons. I'm not sure what to do with this channel. There's not been very much going on here in the last year. So I'm just trying to find the easiest way of doing this. I don't know. Maybe we'll sack Patreon completely now that YouTube has its own members thing. Could just do like a members thing on YouTube. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Can you help explain proper hand position? I'm a beginner pianist, confused with all the info out there. Yeah, I can imagine, because there's so many different things. Well, you know, I check out maybe Dorothy Taubman. Dorothy Taubman, Taubmann. You know, I think she explains these kind of things in a really good way. You know, it's kind of natural things, you know. I was always told when I was a kid, you know, you have to play like you're holding an apple. But in the end, it's more about being natural than being like this, you know. Obviously, you know, if you're a beginner, don't do this, right? I call this bananas. That's how they were taught to me, bananas, because it makes a banana, you know. But little things, if you're also a piano teacher, you might, you know, get something from that. Dorothy Taubman would talk about that, you know, telling children who are playing, you know, instead of telling them, don't do this, you know, when you tell them don't do this, they do this, you know. And so she'd just say, keep this straight, you know, and this is kind of just natural, right? So maybe check out Dorothy Taubman if you're a beginner pianist. So there we go. This video was maybe more for, well, advanced students, but you know, if you're more of an intermediate student playing Bach and Baroque music, I think you can get something out of this as well. Okay, guys, we're gonna cut it short and keep it there for today. Peace, over and out. Happy practicing. See you soon. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.